Hello and welcome to Stories from the View, a podcast from the Pleasant View Senior Center in East Longmeadow, Massachusetts. On this podcast, we invite East Longmeadow residents to tell us their stories about their lives and events. And today's guests are Connor and John Dearborn from the Fernwood Farm here in East Longmeadow. And here is your host, Mary Genowan Kaplan.
Thank you, Eric. And welcome, John and Connor, for coming today to be our guests for our podcast. I am already tremendously impressed as I hear you began your day picking vegetables. And that's, I guess, the life of agriculture. So tell us, how did this begin? You mentioned a convergence of hobbies. What sort of hobbies did you have?
So good morning, everybody. So for years I've had gardens. It's the way I relax. 6 years ago we started doing maple syrup on a real small scale.
Couple of bags, couple of buckets.
Yep. Going and tromping through the snow, picking it up, boiling it. I think we made half a gallon our first year.
That was a long winter.
That was a long winter. And we have a small flock of chickens for fresh eggs for the family. Connor's always been involved with me. He's my son. He built himself a greenhouse 2 years ago. Started with an old carport frame.
It always starts out small idea, and then it just keeps getting bigger.
Yep. So.
But you did it, right?
Yep.
It's there.
Yeah, and he improves on it every year. So this year we did lots of starter plants. Kind of the gardens got bigger and bigger and bigger. Now we have 2 garden sites. We have one at big one at our house. We have a Connor and his best friend are managing 350 pumpkin plants up on Porter Road. We just bought a new maple syrup boiler, so went from half a gallon to about 15 gallons last year. Our goal is 25 to 30 this year. Again, we're not trying to make a living or anything. This is basically we're just trying to pay for our hobby.
Trying to pay for the hobby.
Connor's a graduate of East Longmeadow High School. He's an Eagle Scout. He's in his second year of nursing school at Elms College.
Oh, so this is all in his free time.
Yes.
What little free time I actually have, yeah.
And mine too. I'm the fire chief for the town of Longmeadow. So.
Well, that's a pretty busy job.
Yeah. But this is how I relax. And I get to spend a lot of time with Connor, which is fun.
So how many acres do you have at your house?
We're 2. So it doesn't sound like but we use it very efficiently.
We have very supportive neighbors on either side of us, down the road, up the road.
Yeah.
They let us tap their trees in the back, and we fish them some eggs every once in a while, or give them a little bottle.
Yep. Make sure everybody's got fresh veggies. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's important to make good relationships.
You're impacting the quality of life on your street.
Yeah.
That's great. So tell us, you have maple syrup, you have chickens.
Yep.
You have a flock of pumpkins. What else are you growing, and how's it happening?
Good.
So right now we've got green beans, doing a lot of cucumbers. I'm trying to grow something new this year, loofahs, which I thought were, you think of loofahs, you're like, sea sponge, kind of that stuff. But if you actually grow them on a vine, they kind of grow like a cucumber. And you have to dry them out and then pinch all the seeds out of them, and then they make the loofah that you buy at the store, the natural loofah. It's interesting.
Not
so you'll be like a loofah plant soon. They'll be
apparently
Bed Bath and Dearborn. Will be
there we go.
Yes,
yeah, maybe
that'll work.
Yeah, if that's our next best thing. We have we do herbs. Although this year's been tough. The rain is our squash.
A lot of the vine plants that we have are struggling a little bit,
and the tomatoes actually are struggling because we have the stuff that's in raised beds is doing much better. The stuff that the ground plants are not doing well. Just last year was too hot. This year's too wet. So, but that's farming. That's agriculture. and we're a lot luckier than those poor folks up in Lake Hatfield along the river where they lost all their crops. We've been able to maintain. Again, we're not trying to make our living doing it either. It's just a fun hobby. So.
And so it sounds like you have a pretty good yield, though.
We do.
Am I using the right farm words?
Yeah.
Pretty good yield.
Yep.
And so other than distributing to your neighbors and friends and feeding your family, do you sell to the public?
Yep. Yeah, we have a little stand out, basically a wagon out in front of our house. We're doing the farmers market here today. Farmers markets are a new thing for us. I'm kind of at the end of my career. I've got a few years left, and then I retire, so I may do that more.
You're going to have to, because I'm going to be in the hospital.
And we're hoping that this nursing thing works out. So,
pay for his hobby.
Yeah, he has made Dean's List every semester so far, so we're thinking it's going to be okay.
That's a great career, too. What drew you to nursing, Connor?
I used to work at Glenmeadow in Longmeadow. My mom used to work there. I was always around the elderly, and I was always very in tune with helping them, and I always had great relationships with adults. So I was like, oh, maybe that's kind of a career I could go into, helping other people. Or you're firefighter, EMT, paramedic. So it's always been around medical care and helping other people. So I guess I kind of just fell into it.
Fell into that. So have you started clinicals yet, or?
Clinicals start in the spring.
It's beginning.
Yep.
But it sounds like you already have a little bit of experience. This won't be as much of a shock, perhaps, as some of your classmates.
Yeah, I work at Orchard Valley now in Wolverham, so I'm getting a little bit more experience with. They have a memory care unit over there, so I'm getting more involved with like the memory care, and Glenmeadow's independent living, independent assisted, so it's a little bit different than going to like Orchard Valley's strictly assisted in memory care. So it's giving me a different perspective on what kind of field I want to go into, whether it's geriatrics or if it's pediatrics or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to keep an open mind for clinicals so I can say, all right, this is the department I want to work in.
Right. There could be something totally different you've never worked with before. How very fun. Absolutely.
I'm excited.
That's great. It's nice when people find their niche or what they think is the niche for now. That's wonderful. But what a hobby. So is this year round? I mean, it sounds like with Maples, where you get like 2 weeks off in March or something?
Yeah, I mean, so one thing with us is we always have to be thinking like 6 months ahead. So we're harvesting vegetables right now, but we need to make sure we cut enough wood for maple syrup now. So we're always looking, 6, 8, a year ahead. Anything, even something as simple as composting. We're composting now for next year's soil. So we do a lot of composting using the chicken manure and waste vegetables.
Which is for sale on the website.
Chicken manure for sale on the website.
Yep.
Who would have thought? Right?
Yep. Sell anything these days.
Yeah. You don't want to stand in it because you're going to grow 6 inches. So
Maybe.
You see it's not common for us to have a 6-foot tomato plant. So, but we try to be as natural. We don't use any
Antibiotics with the chickens or anything like that.
We're not technically organic. It's kind of that's a tall bar, but we don't use any harsh fertilizers. We try to stay, low nitrogen. We try to really use a lot of compost, stuff like that, because we're doing this in our yard. We have 2 Labrador retrievers
that like to eat the tomato plants. So that's why we're struggling with the tomato plants too.
I thought it was usually like bunnies and deer, but it's your dogs.
Yes, our dogs.
The yellow lab we had would chase bunnies around the yard all day. These 2, they don't care.
Yep.
They just sit there and watch them.
Yep, they'll eat tomatoes, and they love peas, the pea pods, because they're sweet. We'll walk around the yard, and right in the middle of the yard, there's a vine of peas. Like, how did that get put up in the garden for 2 dogs to look at and stuff?
The brown lab puts his head down, and you're like, okay, we know who did that one.
The guilt look.
Yep.
Yes.
So,
How many chickens?
about 15 right now. So, but we're kind of we got
In between.
We got the new chicks are just starting, and we're every 2-3 years we kind of add some because we know some are going to go south. So
whole mixture, different types?
We try to stick mostly with the reds.
Got a couple cinnamons this year.
Yeah, so but they're a hardy chicken, so
New England chicken.
yep.
Does that mean their eggs are different colors?
So most of our eggs are brown. We do have a batch of chickens right now that's giving us some white eggs.
Blue. They're blue.
Blue, yeah, I guess they're blue. Yeah.
Guys.
Like
Yeah.
Robin.
Turquoise,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
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 They're supposed to be
Aqua.
blue, but
Yeah. But yeah, mainly the brown eggs. Yeah. And then and we have a sale on it, small eggs today because our new chickens just started laying and they're
that big.
that big. So they're available at discount.
So if your recipe calls for 4, you will use 8.
You're right. Yep.
Half the price for half the egg.
What about predators? Have you had any concern with?
Other than your dogs?
Raccoons.
Raccoons are our biggest thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Have you seen signs that they've?
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. We do what we call a relocation program with them. We usually have our trap and then take them to
Your brother's property.
yeah. We take they go out to Munson.
No, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, my brother has property out Munson, and we tap trees out there to truck the sap back to East Longmeadow.
It's very scary when the roads are ice.
Yeah. Yeah, last year we got caught. We went out to bring sap back. It was one of those snowstorms. It wasn't supposed to start till midnight. Started right when we were leaving, and my brother was on one of the hills out there. So it was a fun ride back with a tank of maple syrup.
With a half a 50-gallon tank.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, it's a fun.
It's an adventure.
Yes. Yep.
How do you decide what made you go into the pumpkin extraordinaire business? You looked at the pumpkin market or
So-
really like Halloween?
Well, yes, if you ever drive by our house on Halloween or Christmas, it's like the holiday threw up on our house. So, not even exaggerating.
You can see us from space on Christmas.
We have a bright, nice display out
Nice.
front. Yep.
Yep.
As for the pumpkins, my friend Connor, they own Porter Road Pet Care, so they have a bunch of property on the sides and in the back. So we talked about it this year. We're like, hey, let's just rototill the field. We'll do a small patch, just see if maybe something will grow there. I planted 350 pumpkin plants,
Just a
200
small
corn
patch.
plants. Yeah, and
350.
Yeah, we started them in our greenhouse.
I was out till 2 a.m. in the. I started after work at 6:30, and then I got home probably around 2 a.m. I was planting pumpkins in the dark.
You have like a miner's cap? What? How do you do
I
this?
had No, Connor had so Connor and Caleb, those are the brothers over there.
The Morrissey.
The Morrissey brothers. They have a fixation with Home Depot, as do I, and they love their purchases. So they bought a giant spotlight literally the day before. So I was like, hey, let's rip out that spotlight because I'm blind as a bat right now. So we planted all until 2 a.m. They just stood there watching me while I was planting the pumpkins, keeping me company.
Home Depot's a good vice. That's
Yeah.
fine. It's
Yep.
legal.
That's
That
a great idea, planting over there. I mean, I drive by there all the time.
Yep.
So,
And we
then all
weren't
of a
sure on the
sudden
dirt.
I saw that fence up and I said,
Yep.
ooh, something's going on over there.
We weren't sure what if the field was going to be, good enough for us to grow with the water and everything, but it seems to be doing really good
They
right
actually
now.
work really good because it's got a slate. So flooding and water have been a problem this year, and just by luck, this field's just got the right pitch to it, and
Yeah.
it's been draining. So the plants.
Knock on wood.
So I just want Connor, Dearborn, Connor Morrissey, and Caleb Morrissey. The Morrisseys own Porter Road Pet Care. If you need a place to keep your pet, they're awesome.
Just a little plug.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yep. But the three boys all got their Eagle Scouts together, so they came up through Boy Scouts together. So so it was pretty cool. It's pretty cool that they still have the relationship and they're in business together.
That's nice. Yeah, I actually haven't met them. I went there to buy wreaths at Christmas.
Yep.
But they weren't there. The owners weren't there.
Yep.
So I was going to introduce myself because I've only been there at the farm, only 4 years.
Right.
So it'd be nice to know the neighbors.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the wreath sales are for the Boy Scouts, and that's all.
Okay, that's
the
They're one of their big fundraisers that we do.
Mhm.
That and the Easter plant sale.
Astonishing. Absolutely astonishing. So
How long have you been in East Longmeadow?
All my life.
Yeah.
all that long life,
Yeah.
Connor.
22 years now. Yeah. Yeah.
Originally from the area?
Yeah, I grew up in Munson. Went away to the service. I was in the Coast Guard for 5 years. Came back. A friend of mine was on the Longmeadow Fire Department. I was working, doing some other stuff. He said, "Hey, we're giving a test for firefighting." I'd been involved in firefighting in Munson as a volunteer. 138 people took the test. Somehow I got hired. And then,
And you never left.
yeah, and then
They liked you. That's good.
Yep. Then 8 years ago, the chief's job came open, and I jumped into that, and it's been a great ride. So,
That's great.
yeah, I've had a blessed life. So,
Absolutely. Well, this hobby that you folks have, it hits all the points. It's physical, it's psychological. You've got to figure out a ton of stuff. It's good brain fitness. For, as you said, you're seeing the end of wrapping up your career, so we got to keep those brain cells going. But also, I suspect it also fills your heart a little bit. See things grow and enjoy people getting your vegetables and eggs, even the tiny little ones,
yes.
and appreciate. That sounds like a great way to fill your time. 51 weeks of the year.
Yeah.
The
Absolutely.
greenhouse becomes kind of like our meditative spot. If we know one of us is in there, just all right, take your time, do what you got to do, because we know we're in there planting or we're doing something just to keep ourselves busy. That's our meditation. So,
Okay.
yep.
Well, we have a barn too, and he's always got a project going on.
We just finished cleaning it, and I pulled something else into it. Sorry.
Well, and I think you mentioned you have a new building project.
Yes, we.
So tell us.
So we drove all the way up to Princeton, Massachusetts yesterday.
This is the boys.
This has nothing to do with him. Drove all the way up to Princeton, Massachusetts yesterday. Connor found I'm not speaking in the third person. This is the other Connor. It gets kind of confusing when we work together. So we drove all the way up there. He found it on Facebook Marketplace. It's just an old camper trailer frame. Perfect condition, not rusted, anything like that. And I was like, all right, for $83, I'll take it. So I drove it all the way back down here, and we're going to put a nice little farm stand on it. It's going to hold our pumpkins. And then maybe in a later edition, it might actually end up going to the farmers markets too if we put a nice little stand on it. It's under production.
I see the pattern. An
Yeah.
idea is germinated, and then it grows.
And the credit card bills.
Yeah, we did. We are actually as of this year, we're a business. We're a partnership. So Connor's actually keeping books, and
Good.
we got all the IRS forms and things like that.
So what's the advantage of that? What made you decide to take the leap? Or because of all the growing?
I think just because we're starting to sell stuff. So I think just it's the right way to do it. It's a good opportunity for him to learn the business side of it. He's keeping the books.
Trying to keep the
Trying
books.
To, under the watchful eye of my wife. My wife's the chief financial officer, so I'm the idea guy.
If you look on the website, there's a nice little description of him too.
Really?
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
I will definitely do that.
FernwoodFarmMA.com.
Say that again slowly, please.
FernwoodFarmMA.com.
Okay.
And so you're going to be here is it this afternoon?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going out to set up right now. So
Well, not right this second, but
Yeah.
yes.
We've got eggs, green beans,
Cucumbers,
lots of cucumbers, squash, chives today.
whatever's left of our maple syrup.
Yep.
I think I have like 4 or 5
We're
bottles
almost
left.
sold out, so.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yep.
So now, is there another farmer's market this season, or
We did one 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago?
This is our last one for the season.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the last.
Because I go back to school after this, and I'm not going to be able to be here, and
Yep.
he works.
Gotcha.
So.
Are you doing other farmers markets this season?
No,
or
this is our first forte into
Oh,
it.
this is.
Yeah.
I see. Oh, this is good. This
Yeah,
is a
so we're
good place
learning.
to start.
Yeah, this was a pretty
Yeah.
low impact one.
Yeah.
But we learned some stuff the first time, and
We'd like to jump head first into things.
yeah, just it's a learning experience. We're hoping next year to do plant sales. We did start our plants in our greenhouse this year. we didn't really know how to sell them. We did them on our roadside stand, but I think plant sales next year, we're gonna try to do that.
Is that like vegetable plants?
Yeah, tomato plants, pepper plants,
Herbs.
stuff like that, herbs, squash plants, stuff like that. So it's a learning process. So can we actually, do starter plants? That's what we did this year. Can we actually efficiently do it? And we did. We made a lot of them, and we gave.
Made too many of them.
Yeah, we ended up actually. We gave a ton away. I mean, all of our friends got free gardens this year. And guys at the firehouse, I was bringing racks of tomato plants in.
So many tomato plants.
So yeah, I mean, and that's the tomato seed. If you ever see one, and putting those in all the starter trays can be. He says meditative. I say it's
maddening.
But they.
Teach his own.
Yeah, but next year we want to try to figure that out a little bit better. Look for some plant sales and things like that. So, we learn something every year. So
Every day.
Yeah.
Well, since I've lived on the farm, I live on my daughter-in-law's farm in
Yep.
Porter. I mean, I have a whole new appreciation for what a farmer does, what's involved. To me, it was always, you throw some seeds in the ground and things grow, and then you pick them, and wow, as you had said, there's a lot of thinking ahead.
Yep.
Preparation and making sure you've got the right composition of the soil and right place to grow certain things.
We do a lot of trial and error.
Yeah. I mean, you can't be afraid to fail.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we're not. If we have if our squash doesn't grow, we're still going to eat that night.
Good point.
Thanks to the day jobs. This is good.
Yeah. Or the maple sap doesn't flow, we're still going to be okay. So, but we feel like we're diversified. So.
Well, who knows? It could be tomato plants and peas for dogs. I won't say it.
Yeah.
we won't venture into
There's
that.
probably a vet listening, and they'll be like, "Don't feed your dog that."
We're not feeding them anything. They're
Don't
feeding themselves.
try this at home.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What else? So any advice that you would have for others who are thinking about, they kind of got a green thumb and might want to.
Start small and try it out.
Yeah, it's relaxed. Don't overwhelm yourself with it. There's some things we've done. We've kind of overwhelmed ourselves. The maple syrup this year, we had a couple weeks where we got so much sap. Again, I'm working. He's going to school.
It was a lot of me coming home from classes and starting the boiler up and sitting there going, "Please hurry up."
And they'd be getting out of work, and it's boiling at 2:00 in the morning. And that wasn't fun.
Especially when it's 12 degrees outside.
Yeah. So and normally we would boil on the weekends, and we have a lot of family and friends that'll come over, and it's fun. But there was points this year where it wasn't fun. I don't know how the people that do it for a living. There's some really great producers in our area here, out in Hampton and stuff, and they do it every day, and I don't know how they do that. So
They're hardy. It's a hardy, not for the faint of heart, for sure.
And again, where we're at right now, that's as big as we want to get. I have no desire to get bigger than that. We make enough to pay for the hobby, and we get for as much as we sell, we give away too. So, which is it's nice. We like to share what we produce. So, we take pictures every weekend when we boil of the crew that's there, and in our little sugar shack. Which is nothing fancy. We have the pictures of all the groups from every weekend. So at the end of the season, we look and
The wall's growing.
The wall's growing every year. There's more and more pictures, and we make sure everybody gets their share of maple syrup at the end of the season. So
You get by with a little help from your friends.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
I'll do pancake weekends. I'll make pancakes from scratch and do pancakes fresh syrup coming off the boiler and or boil hot dogs or
we're not doing that.
Yeah, that was gross. Hot dogs and kielbasa.
Yeah, so we heard this from some folks in Vermont that when you're boiling, to put hot dogs or kielbasa in the actual boiling pan.
And when it's coming from Vermont, maple syrup, you're
So
like,
you
it's got to be good.
So it wasn't.
It
Didn't
wasn't.
work.
So
Maybe they were pranking you. I don't know.
They might have been.
Possibly.
Yeah. They saw.
Those were those kind of cousins that would do that too.
So
So it sounds like there've been some challenges,
yep,
and you learn by doing, but all in all, you have a heck of a lot of fun.
absolutely.
And it's
A lot of fun and a lot of sweat.
a great family and friends experience. I am so glad to have heard about this. Anything else you would like to share? I'll bet you here.
You want
Well-
to talk about your T-shirt fundraiser?
So these T-shirts that we're selling, we're gonna do 20% of the profits are gonna go towards planting trees back in natural habitat here in Massachusetts. So when we go up to Moses Scout Reservation, and there is this disease that's going on with the hemlock trees up there, and they're bugs basically. They're called woolly aglets, and they eat the leaves off of the trees, or the needles off the trees, and it kills the trees over the course of 2 or 3 years. So you can plant pre-treated trees,
Oh,
and it'll actually prevent them from eating the tree.
kind of like a vaccine.
Kinda, yeah. And you just keep replanting the hardier trees, and it'll prevent them from dying out.
And will you be selling those at your farm stand?
Yes, we have T-shirts here.
And at the excellent. That's great.
And they're nice Kelly green.
Kelly Green.
Yep.
Kelly Irish green or something.
Yeah.
They're very green.
Anything Irish with us, I mean.
That's great. Well, thank you both so much for coming. And I appreciate that even more now, hearing how busy you all are. I think our timing was excellent with Connor going back to school in like a minute and a half and getting ready to start again.
Yeah, so can you tell your location and that type of thing for people that are
Probably
listening?
The website, you did that, right?
Yeah, the best way to get in contact with us if you want to purchase something is either come to one of the farmers markets that we're doing, and I'll post that on our Facebook page, or I'll send an email out. You can also go on our website, and there is a link right at the top that says enter your email here, and I'll put you on a little newsletter that I'll send out and say, hey, we're going to the farmers market this weekend, or hey, we have special deal on tomato plants this week, or I have way too many cucumbers, please come and take them. Stuff like
Yeah,
that.
and on the Facebook page, if we're putting the wagon out front, he puts that up.
Yep.
So.
And I try to share it with the Longmeadow, East Longmeadow town forums, and
Yeah, eggs we sell out every weekend. Our neighbors they wait for us to put that wagon out there. It's like,
So if you need eggs, order online.
Oh, okay. So you can order online on the
you can
website?
Order online.
and-
You can pay online. You can, if you want to pay in cash, you just have to select cash upon delivery on the bottom, and then when you come and pick them up, just.
Yep. We do Venmo at the stands. Well, I don't know how that works, but he does. So,
I do Venmo at the stands.
Yeah.
yeah, he's the tech guy. So.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, great. Well, thank you so much for being here. As
Yeah, it's a
Mary
pleasure.
was saying, yeah, we really appreciate your being here today. And, good luck with everything, Connor. Good luck to you in school. And John, just keep doing what you're doing. So that wraps up another episode of Stories from the View. We'd like to thank John and Connor Dearborn for being here today from Fernwood Farms in East Longmeadow. The Stories from the View podcast is available on the LCAT 01028 channel on YouTube, and we're also on Spotify. If you have a story that you'd like to share on the program, contact Pleasant View Senior Center Director Aaron Kobler by stopping by the Pleasant View Senior Center or by calling Aaron at 413-525-5436, extension 1401, or you can send Aaron an email, aaron.kobler@eastlongmeadowma.gov. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Stories from the View.